Hey yo guys, welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys a review of Injustice for None by Five Finger Death Punch. Alright guys, so right off the bat, I just wanted to let you guys know that we didn't record a first impressions video last week because we were both busy, but we have been listening to this album all week long. We both listened to it a ton of times, you know, giving it plenty of playtime and to, you know, build our opinions on it. So I'm gonna hand the floor to TV Fish. I'll let you start this off and let us know what you think of it after listening to it all week long.
Alright, so to preface this, I wanted to say that I'm not too huge into this band. I never listened to them too much. I think I tried them a few years ago, wasn't a huge fan. So with this album, I put it on without listening to any of their other stuff. And I think doing that actually gave me a different perspective on it. Because after, you know, I listened to it a bit, and then I listened to a few of their older albums, specifically Way the Fist and War's the Answer, and gave me a different perspective on this album.
Okay.
So when I first listened to it, I thought it was extremely generic, and I didn't feel that there was anything really special about this album. A lot of simple grooves, a lot of just generally catchy choruses, which kind of got in my head, but there was only one that I liked, which was Stuck in My Way. That's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. I feel like this one has a really good vocal performances, one of the best on the album, and for some reason it was just clicking with me. But that's it. Like Rock Bottom, that was a really cool song, but it was plagued by another issue with this album, which was the lyrics.
Lyrics are bad, holy crap.
They're terrible. They're seriously terrible. Very juvenile, and it feels like an 8th grader wrote them. There's nothing profound, it's so basic. I hate you, you're dumb, stupid head.
Those aren't the actual lyrics, but they could be.
They definitely could be, and you know, basic rhyming, like, what is this? You know, why? I don't get it. The best writing was Gone Away, and that's not even their song. That's a song by The Offspring, so it's a cover. But
speaking of that, I'd like to add that Gone Away by The Offspring is a great song. I love that song. Probably one of the most underrated rock ballads out there. And I think that Five Finger Death Punch did this song an injustice. I think that they kind of ruined it. I do not like this cover. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not like it's like, I'm not like plugging my ears. I can listen to it, but I much rather listen to the original. I mean, when people do covers, I want the cover to exceed the expectations, right? And they definitely dropped the ball on it.
Yeah, another notable thing about this album is that I don't think it's unlistenable. Like, you can listen to this album, you can put it on, but I could never see a situation where I put this on over anything else, especially the other albums that Five Finger Death Punch has, because I even listen.
Well, let's talk about the contrast for a second, because you mentioned The Way of the Fist and War's the Answer, which was the first two albums. The contrast between those two albums from like a decade ago to this album is night and day, because you got such raw aggression, fast double bass, crazy guitar licks, fast solos, just raw emotion in the vocals. They had everything back then. Now you got literally money beats on each song. You got one or two decent guitar solos. You got horrible lyrics. You don't got that raw emotion anymore. It's kind of all simplified and just really basic and broken down. Such a vast contrast. I really did not like that drastic change in the band.
And I also listened to Got Your Six, which is one of the more recent ones. I'm not sure if that was the last one before this, but it was definitely a lot more recent in the current era of this band, and it was decent. There were some songs I liked, and I'm like, you know what? This is good enough. This is good enough for me. But then going from that to this, like in such a short time span, like what the hell happened? Why, like, was this an album that they just didn't feel like putting effort on, or what were they going for? Because you know, like you said, the contrast is big from the beginning of this band's inception, and of course, bands will change over time and their sound will change. But if your last album, being Got Your Six, was decent, it had some cool stuff, why do you just shit the bed with this one?
Like, there's literally country songs on this album. Like, I'm talking like country riffs, country twang, like acoustic guitars, all that kind of stuff. There's two songs that, in my opinion, could meet the standard of being country on this, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, like I said, when you go from War's the Answer or The Way of the Fist, and you get used to that style of music, and then you switch to this, I know there's a bunch of albums in between there, but in my opinion, those albums were all kind of, didn't really hit the mark either. It's really disappointing. And And I thought to myself, like, I like those first 2 albums a lot. Awesome albums, solid albums in my library. After that, they kind of fell off the boat for me. I was just like, whatever. I kind of put Five Finger Death Punch on the back burner. Didn't really give them much time. I thought they got a new album coming out. They're a popular band. People are gonna want to see a review. I want to give these guys another chance. I want to get this new album, give it a solid listen, and hopefully get back into it. Maybe revitalize the passion I once had for this band, and maybe I'll go back and listen to some of their other albums and maybe reappreciate them. Didn't happen, man. Didn't happen. I'm so... I'm not even gonna say I'm disappointed because I wasn't really expecting a lot, because I do know the last few albums did disappoint me as well. But I want to talk about some positive stuff for a second. It's not all bad, okay? There is some decent stuff on this album. There's some decent grooves. For example, Rock Bottom, which is probably my favorite song on the album. The grooves on that song are freaking awesome. Instrumentally, this song is fucking pumping. It's fun to listen to. It's energetic. It's got awesome riffs. It's one of the few songs on the album with a decent rhythm section. Lyrically, it falls apart though. Yeah. On the lyrics. The lyrics are horrible.
Probably one of the worst on the
album. Probably one of the worst, but it's still a fun song to listen to. There's a couple other songs like that that are fun too. You mentioned the one song you like with the vocal performance. I think I Refuse has the best vocal performance. It's another slowed down, softer song, which there's several of those on this album as well. So it's one of those albums like metalheads can listen to it, but it's not an album for metalheads.
Yeah, I'd say this is a really good album for non-metalheads to be like, yeah, I got energy, like, to get them into it. But even then, I feel like there are other bands and other albums that non-metalheads could listen to and appreciate more.
Of course.
Like, this is not really a good example for, you know, if you're not into metal, listen to this, but it's appropriate for that.
Yeah, but like, you know, I mean, it feels like they're just going for like the radio hit, you know, kind of thing. This falls more under hard rock than it does metal for me. I've always called Five Finger Death Punch the Nickelback of metal because I think that description of them suits their sound perfectly. At least everything after War is the Answer, because before that they had some solid shit. But I don't know, what do you think? Should we get to ratings or what? You want to say anything else?
Just one small thing to mention. You know, you were talking about I Refuse, and one thing that struck me about that song is I find typically, you know, we've said before on this channel that, you know, we find with albums, they, you know, start out the gate with some energy with a few tracks, then they chill, you know, a few tracks in, and then it goes back and forth. I also find that albums halfway through are gonna have a really chill song that brings it down, and then the second half is when they ramp it back up. But with this album, you know, that song would be I Refuse, and I think it would be a great middle point if the pattern wasn't so zigzag.
The pattern of the rest of the song.
Like, yeah, it would just go hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, and there's no contour. It's just completely back and forth. So I Refuse doesn't feel as special when 2 tracks later you have When the Seasons Change.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically what he's trying to say is that, you know, you got a mixture of hard songs and soft songs, but the way they're organized in the track listing is very off-putting. It's not a good flow of tracks.
Yeah.
The arrangement of the tracks.
So that makes sense. We can get the ratings now. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm trying to be you know, objective with my answer, my reasonings and stuff like that. But objectively, like, it's really hard to find stuff that's good about this album in a sense that I can kind of praise it, you know? It's not that anything's really bad. It's a tolerable album. You could put it on, you could listen to it. It's in the background, whatever. I don't hate it. I wasn't shutting it off, or I didn't hate the album. It's decent music. You know, you could tap your foot to it, groove to it, whatever. But is there anything that I can really say, like, that was freaking cool, that was freaking awesome, other than the grooves in Rock Bottom? Probably not. I'm sorry to say it, but for me personally, maybe this is just subjective now, but it's hard for me to really find things on this album that I really liked, that really stood out to me. So I'm gonna give this album a 4 out of 10 is my score. Fortunately, low score, but that's it. I can't justify anything more than that.
So for me, when I like to rate albums, you know, kind of like this one, I like to think, okay, what songs on this album do I enjoy, or what I put on and be happy with? So I look through the track listing and I can pick 2 songs out of like 13 that I'd actually say, yeah, maybe I'd listen to that one, and that's Stuck in My Ways and Rock Bottom. So when you have an album where, you know, only 2 out of 13 are really enjoyable for you, you know, the album to me really is not that great at all. You did say it was listenable, and I agree, but if you put it in the context of this band, this album is just a disaster. And it's like, what are these guys doing? Even the last album before this was decent. What happened with this one? That being said, because there are 2 songs that are good on it, I give this one a 3 out of 10, because it does have a little bit, but it really doesn't have that much. So that's all we got here for you guys today. A 4 from him, 3 from me, and yeah, I really think this band dropped the ball. Like,
also though, you guys should still let us know what you guys think in the comments section, because we know there's a lot of Five Finger Death Punch, a lot of knuckleheads out there, and some of you are probably gonna hate on us for shitting on this album, but if you guys do disagree with us, let us know why. Maybe we're missing something. Like I said, we listened to this album all week long, so I'm pretty sure we've got our bases covered, but if there's something in a specific song that spoke out to you that you really liked, a lyric or a certain guitar part or a drum lick or something like that, let us know in the comments below. I'll go check it out again, and I'll be like, shit, maybe I missed something, maybe I missed something. Maybe I can learn to appreciate the album a little more, but I'm gonna say I kind of doubt it. So, with that said, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Later.